It's happening again, and this time it's not where anyone expected. Not in Yellowstone, not in California, not even along the deadly Ring of Fire. This time, it's happening beneath the Great Lakes, the beating heart of North America, where the Earth was supposed to be silent. For decades, scientists said this land was stable, safe, unshakable. But new data from NASA and the US Geological Survey has shattered that illusion. Because under the calm blue waters of Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, and Lake Huron, something ancient is moving. Magma, real, rising molten rock, detected deep beneath the Great Lakes region. Satellite radar shows the ground is swelling. Magnetic sensors are pulsing, and heat signatures miles below the surface are lighting up like a warning flare. It's the same pattern scientists have seen before every major volcanic awakening in modern history. Only this time, it's not under a volcano, it's under America's freshwater crown. Experts are calling it the Great Lakes Magma Anomaly. And if what the USGS detected is true, it could mean the Midcontinent Rift, an ancient scar that nearly split North America in half 1 billion years ago, is coming back to life. Imagine it, the ground beneath Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan beginning to breathe again, pressure building where no one's watching, a volcano forming not on the coast, but in the middle of the continent. If magma is really moving beneath the Great Lakes, then this could be the most unexpected geological discovery in US history, and possibly the beginning of a new volcanic system that no one saw coming. The USGS says it's monitoring closely, but what does that really mean? Are they hiding how serious this is? And if the Great Lakes Rift is truly reawakening, could America's next eruption come from the place we least expect, the calmest, coldest waters on Earth?
Chapter 1. The First Signal. It started as a glitch. At least, that's what scientists thought. Late in 2024, a USGS satellite scanning the Great Lakes region detected an unusual rise in ground elevation along the western rim of Lake Superior. Just a few centimeters, barely enough to notice, but it didn't stop. Within weeks, the same pattern appeared beneath northern Michigan and near Lake Huron's southern basin. Something enormous was pushing upward beneath the crust. At first, experts blamed frozen ground, groundwater shifts, or glacial rebound, all common in the Midwest. But then came the heat. Infrared satellite imaging showed hot zones forming where there shouldn't be any, and seismic instruments began to record low-frequency tremors, the kind that don't come from tectonic movement, but from magma. That's right, magma under the Great Lakes, hidden, slow, and unstoppable. Scientists reviewing the data called it geothermal flux inconsistent with regional geology. In plain English, the Earth beneath the Great Lakes is heating up, and no one knows why. If the readings are real, the implications are massive. It would mean that the Midcontinent Rift, a billion-year-old scar buried beneath the lakes, isn't dead, it's waking up. And if it rises again, it could turn one of the most peaceful regions in America into a superheated geological hotspot. Chapter 2. The Hidden Rift. To understand how shocking this is, you have to know what's beneath your feet. Over 1 billion years ago, the North American continent nearly tore itself apart. A colossal crack, the Midcontinent Rift, stretched from what is now Kansas, beneath Lake Superior, and into Ontario, Canada. It was meant to become a new ocean, but then it stopped. The rift failed, sealed by time, pressure, and cooling rock. For centuries, scientists taught it as a geological relic, a fossilized wound. But now the USGS is seeing signs that it's no fossil at all. Recent magnetometer readings show the rift is re-energizing. Thermal scans indicate new heat rising from depths of nearly 40 kilometers, and seismic waves are slowing down as they pass through, the unmistakable fingerprint of molten rock. If that's true, it means the Great Lakes Rift Zone is no longer dormant. It's breathing again. And if that molten rock keeps climbing toward the surface, the heart of North America could experience something unseen in modern history. A continental volcanic awakening right beneath the Midwest. Just think about it. A billion-year-old rift, sealed in stone, reopening under the calmest waters on Earth. The
The question isn't whether it's possible, it's whether anyone is ready.
Chapter 3: The Unthinkable Discovery. Then came the discovery that changed everything. In early 2025, a joint NASA-USGS gravity mapping mission confirmed what many geologists refused to believe. A massive, plume-like structure beneath Lake Superior, stretching more than 50 kilometers upward from the mantle. Hot, buoyant, and moving. The data was identical to early readings taken before volcanic unrest in Yellowstone and Iceland's Reykjanes Ridge. But this wasn't the Pacific. This was the Great Lakes, the supposed geological safe zone of North America. When the analysis leaked, researchers began using a new term: the Great Lakes Magma Anomaly. If magma is truly rising under Lake Superior, it would be the first major sign of a reactivating supercontinent rift. That means we could be witnessing the birth of a new volcanic system, one that no one even knew existed. And here's the chilling part: the cities surrounding this anomaly, Duluth, Marquette, Thunder Bay, Green Bay, even Toronto, sit directly above it. Every tremor beneath those waters could be the Earth's first attempt to breathe again. It's not just a geological mystery anymore. It's a national security concern. If magma is moving under America's fresh water supply, what happens next? Would the government tell us the truth, or would they try to keep it quiet until it's too late? Do you think the USGS is telling us everything they know? And if not, what are they hiding under the Great Lakes? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because what you're about to see in the next chapters might change how you see America forever. Chapter 4: The Deep Connection. After that discovery, things started moving fast. Seismic networks across the upper Midwest began recording faint vibrations, consistent, rhythmic, and spreading. They weren't random, they were directional. Shockingly, the tremors lined up with ancient fracture lines extending toward the Appalachians in the east and the Ozark Plateau in the south. It's as if the Great Lakes were sending energy pulses through the crust, reawakening fractures that haven't moved in eons. Geophysicists call it the Inland Magma Corridor, a potential subsurface highway linking multiple ancient rifts across North America. If confirmed, this would mean the Great Lakes Magma Anomaly is not isolated. It's connected to a much larger system, possibly stretching from Canada to the Gulf of Mexico. And if pressure builds across that network, we could be looking at a continent-wide chain reaction, a reactivation of a billion-year-old tectonic scar. One event in the Midwest could send ripples across the entire United States. So when you hear about harmless tremors in Minnesota or small quakes in Michigan, remember, they might not be isolated. They might be the first heartbeat of something massive. Chapter 5: The Warning Signs Multiply. By spring 2025, the signs were undeniable. Over 60 microquakes rippled beneath Lake Superior in less than 2 weeks. Sensors on the lake floor picked up low-frequency vibrations, the same type detected before volcanic unrest in axial seamount off the Oregon coast. Only this time, they were right under America's largest freshwater reservoir. Then came the heat. Fishermen near Duluth began reporting strange bubbles rising through cracks in the lakebed. Thermal imaging confirmed localized hotspots, warm enough to disrupt ice formation, even in sub-zero weather. USGS submersibles later identified vents releasing carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide, both clear signs of magma degassing deep below. That means the process has already begun. The crust beneath the Great Lakes is venting pressure, a prelude to something much bigger. Scientists call it geothermal venting. Locals call it impossible, but history calls it the beginning. If these vents keep multiplying, the Great Lakes could one day transform into a new volcanic province, a chain of geothermal islands rising from the water where there was once only silence. And when that day comes, people will look back at this moment, the moment the USGS
saw magma moving beneath the Great Lakes and realize this was the first warning we ignored. Chapter 6. The Magnetic Anomaly. Then came the discovery that no one could explain. In June 2025, USGS magnetometer aircraft flying low over northern Michigan detected wild fluctuations in the magnetic field, rising and falling every few minutes as if something alive were pulsing beneath the ground. Ancient granite should be silent, but this looked dynamic. When analysts overlaid the readings with heat flow data, the match was terrifyingly precise. The magnetic surge was strongest directly above the Midcontinent Rift, and the pattern repeated every 17 hours. The same rhythm detected in magma flow systems beneath Iceland's volcanic ridges. The only logical conclusion: molten material is moving again under America's heartland. Geologists began whispering about a magnetic heartbeat. If true, it means the crust under the Great Lakes is no longer sealed. It's flexing, cracking, and letting energy leak from the mantle. That's not a local glitch. That's a continental alarm. Chapter 7. The Great Lakes Lift. By midsummer, satellite radar told the next part of the story. Across western Lake Superior and northern Minnesota, a giant dome of land, 300 kilometers wide, was rising. 10 millimeters a year. Too fast for post-glacial rebound, too precise to be random tectonics. The only force strong enough? Magma pressure. USGS INSAR images show the crust swelling like a balloon. If the uplift continues, new fissures could open beneath the lakes, forming sublake volcanoes or steam explosions powerful enough to send tsunamis racing across the water. And remember, this is the region that supplies drinking water to 40 million people. Every centimeter the ground rises brings that magma one step closer to the surface. And when water meets fire, the explosion doesn't warn twice. Chapter 8. The Forgotten Warnings. Long before satellites and sensors, others saw the signs. The Ojibwe and Cree nations spoke of fire under the great waters. Traders in the 1800s wrote about nights when the lake steamed like a cauldron. For centuries, those stories were dismissed as myth, but now the instruments echo the legends. The same thermal zones described in oral history align perfectly with today's hotspots. Maybe they weren't legends at all. Maybe they were eyewitness accounts of the last time the Great Lakes Rift came alive. History has a cruel habit of repeating itself. The only difference now is that millions of people live on top of it. Chapter 9. The Data Lockdown. Then, silence. In August 2025, multiple USGS data portals tracking the Great Lakes uplift went offline overnight. Officials called it routine maintenance, but leaked memos told a darker story. Sensors were returning unprecedented thermal gradients and deformation rates inconsistent with known processes. In short, the numbers didn't make sense, so they pulled the plug. Independent researchers tried to keep watching with open source satellites, and what they saw made headlines on underground science forums. The uplift zone was still expanding, now stretching toward Lake Michigan. Why hide that? Because if the public realized a magma plume might be building beneath the largest freshwater system on Earth, panic would spread faster than the data itself. When science goes quiet, the Earth is usually screaming. Chapter 10. The North American Rift awakens. By the autumn of 2025, tremor maps began revealing what many geologists had whispered for decades: the impossible. A pattern. Tiny, low-frequency quakes beneath Lake Superior were mirroring microshocks hundreds of miles away in Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Tennessee, the same corridor that traces the ancient New Madrid fault zone. Coincidence? Hardly. When researchers overlaid the data with magnetic field measurements, they found an eerie alignment stretching from the Canadian Shield all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. It's a single, invisible fracture running through the heart of North America, a wound carved more than 1 billion years ago, now showing signs of life. Geophysicists now suspect that the Midcontinent Rift beneath the Great Lakes and the New Madrid seismic zone beneath the Mississippi Valley are not separate systems at all, but one continuous buried structure, a continental magma corridor reconnecting after eons of sleep. If magma is repressurizing the northern end, the stored energy could migrate south through that corridor, reigniting the New Madrid fault lines no one's prepared for. That same network once produced the largest earthquakes in US history, the 1811 to 1812 sequence that made church bells ring in Boston. Now, subtle tremors suggest the system is loading again. Imagine it. Rising heat beneath Michigan, silent fractures opening under Missouri, pressure waves shaking Arkansas, and the entire central United States flexing like a living thing. Bridges, pipelines, and dams were never built for that. If the rift reawakens, it won't just shift a few fault blocks, it could reshape the continent itself. This isn't just geology, it's continental surgery in slow motion. The kind of event that doesn't merely change landscapes, it rewrites maps and reminds humanity that even the calmest heartlands sit on borrowed ground. And if the Earth truly decides to reopen this billion-year-old scar, one question will echo from Lake Superior to the Gulf. Can anyone stop a continent from tearing itself apart once the magma starts to rise? Chapter 11. The calm before the rise. Now, as 2026 approaches, the pattern remains the same, but louder. The ground keeps lifting, the thermal vents keep glowing, and the USGS magma flow models show continued upward migration beneath the Great Lakes Basin. Every week, satellites register new heat anomalies stretching farther east toward Lake Michigan and south toward Wisconsin's driftless area. Scientists call this stage magma intrusion acceleration, the moment when molten rock begins forcing its way through older, brittle layers of crust. It's silent, almost polite, yet catastrophic in slow motion. Each pulse adds pressure, each tremor adds energy, each centimeter of uplift brings the mantle's heat a little closer to the surface. But the lakes above it remain still, glassy, deceptive. Boats drift, waves lap. Tourists take photos of calm horizons, unaware they're floating over a geological furnace. If this uplift continues for another decade, geophysicists warn it could fracture the bedrock under Lake Superior, forming underwater fissures that vent gas and steam just like Iceland's Laki fields. A single fissure eruption beneath freshwater could flash boil millions of gallons, creating a chain of explosions powerful enough to shake cities hundreds of miles away. And yet, most Americans have never even heard of it. News outlets ignore the story, calling it scientifically inconclusive. But magma doesn't care about headlines. It moves with purpose, slow, unstoppable, inevitable. So here we are, the calm before the rise. The air feels colder, the ground warmer, the instruments restless. The Great Lakes were carved by ice, but they could end in fire. We once thought North America's heart was unbreakable. Now we know better, because even here, in the quiet core of the continent, the Earth has begun to breathe again. And when the planet breathes, humanity holds its breath. Will we listen this time, or wait until the waters themselves start to boil? Chapter 12. The hidden rift beneath America's heartland. Under calm blue waters lies the unfinished scar of a dying planet trying to live again. The Midcontinent Rift, once a relic of prehistory, is lighting up with new heat, new motion, new danger. The USGS magma movement under the Great Lakes region is no hoax, no glitch, no exaggeration. It's real, measurable, and growing stronger every day. If the rift reopens, it could create new vents beneath Lake Superior, floodplains with ash, and unleash seismic waves across the Midwest. It would turn the most peaceful landscape in America into its newest volcanic frontier. So when officials say nothing to worry about, remember this: the ground never lies. The crust is rising, the magnetics are pulsing, and magma doesn't move without purpose. The question isn't if the Great Lakes will change, it's when. When that first plume breaks the surface, will anyone believe it's real? Will we call it a freak event, or the start of a new volcanic age inside the continent itself? Tell us in the comments what you think the USGS really found beneath the Great Lakes. Are we seeing the rebirth of a billion-year-old rift, or the first sign that North America's heart is about to crack open? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story. Because when magma moves beneath America's freshwater crown, it's not just news, it's a warning. And the next time you stand by those calm blue shores, ask yourself one thing. What if the next eruption doesn't come from Yellowstone, but from right here, beneath the Great Lakes?